Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Prehistoric Kingdom Alpha. My name is Sweet there and here we are straight into a speed build. I am back on board, still slightly coffee, but I will edit it out if I do need to turn off my microphone and sort out my throat. Just so you don't have your eardrums burst, I guess, while I'm doing this voiceover. I'm currently waiting on my 9th COVID test since this damn pandemic began, so I guess we'll see how that goes, guys. Melbourne, where I live at the moment, is just hectic right now. There's just like this huge thunderstorm going on and like lightning forking across the sky and rain falling super heavy. And I've got a little 6-month-old puppy who is not loving it, to be honest. He's hiding under the couch at the moment, the poor little thing. So I guess, I don't know, like it's pretty epic though. Like it reminds me of that song by Icehouse. It's called Great Southern Land. Great Southern Land. If you haven't heard it, I will link it below because it's kind of cool. And it just the atmosphere of what I'm looking at, because I've got a good view of the city from my apartment, is just like kind of that atmosphere of one of those lines in the song. Anyway, moving on, I think, I guess when we're thinking about Australia, while I'm on the topic of Australia, I don't know why, guys, but I feel really compelled to rectify some recent information that I kind of feel like maybe people have a bit of a misconception around what Australia actually looks like, particularly for all you Planet Zoo players who would have got the Australian update and then like the red desert landscape and thought, yes, that's Australia. That's the Australia I think it looks like. And I mean, it really doesn't. It's not just a hot, dry desert. I mean, yes, most of the country is hot, dry desert, but where the majority of the population in Australia live, it is not. I don't know how many people would know that fact. However, maybe many, and I'm just talking to hear the sound of my own voice. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to link below the song that I'm talking about, and I'm also going to link below the song it's sung by a bunch of Australians, and it's got like all these nice nature shots of Australia. So if you feel like looking at what Australia actually looks like and you never have seen it before, you can do that. However, for those that don't want to watch it, I'm going to have been flashing up some decent images of Australia on the speed build for you anyway, so you will have seen it. Okay. Australian rant over. Let's move on. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk, guys. Let's talk about the Daeodon. All right. So yes, I have some movement and some sound grabs for you. So I'm going to chuck those in right here, and then I'll be back to talk about them. All right, hope you enjoyed those. So let's talk about the name, the Daeodon. So it comes from the Greek word daeos, which means hostile or dreadful, and odon, which means teeth. So basically like hostile teeth or hostile tooth or dreadful tooth. It was quite a large animal. Its limbs were long and slender, and its bones of its foreleg were fused together according to Wikipedia. So look, I don't know if Wikipedia is the best place to get information on these prehistoric animals, but to be honest, I really struggled to find info on these guys. It only had 2 toes on each foot. It had a relatively lightly constructed neck for the size of its head, and most of its head weight was supported by muscles and tendons that were attached to its spine. It had a skull that was about 90 centimetres long or 3 feet long, and it grew to about 1.7 or 1.8 metres tall, 5'8". So quite tall. It's really it's quite a funny looking thing. Like it kind of reminds me of Pumbaa off The Lion King. And oh gosh, we're really getting like the Lion King references in the last few videos, aren't we, guys? We've had the hyenas, we've had part of a song, and now we've got Pumbaa. But anyway, let's talk about the Daeodon's diet. So according to Wiki, and like I said, probably not the most reliable source, Daeodon was omnivorous, and it's suggested that they ate things like nuts and roots and vines, but also meat and bones. But however, extent of its carnivorous nature is still being debated. So the tooth wear suggests that they specialised in crushing bones and ripping meat, and there are some bite marks on other discovered bones that suggest that they either hunted or scavenged on large herbivores, but some have argued that its head was far too heavy to be effective in taking down prey, so it must have relied exclusively on scavenging. It's quite uncertain though, so most evidence does point to the fact that they were likely opportunistic herbivores, so they kind of have been sort of made comparisons between them and bears, because bears tend to be quite seasonal eaters or quite seasonal animals, and they just eat whatever they need to depending on the circumstance or depending on what's available. So that's likely what the Daeodon did also. So I'll talk to you guys a little bit about the build and also kind of what I'm doing at the moment. I did listen to a lot of people's comments with regards to the Gallimimus habitat, and I have made it longer, as you will see. I've put in I haven't actually added in any new trees or really any rocks. I've just kind of moved them about a bit and just put in some bushes and things. At the moment, I am putting in a little shelter for the Daeodon, and I just forgot the name of it there for a second. And I'm also popping in, you can see I'm popping in some rocks at the moment. I didn't want to put in too many trees into these habitats because, you know, as many people have pointed out to me, it is a desert biome and you wouldn't have heaps and heaps of tropical trees around. Like, it's just not realistic for that to be the case. However, what I did want to do is put one or two in, so it kind of gave the Daeodon the opportunity to have some shade. I know that the Daeodon was likely or was mostly discovered in North America, and so this kind of biome is probably not 100% suited to it. However, you know, it is a zoo, so that'll be fine for now. I'm just popping in some rocks at the moment going in. I think the viewing building itself is fairly simple. I wanted it to be quite open air, so there is like a lot of gaps between the roof and the viewing area. However, it is tall enough that no one would actually be able to climb over unless they kind of lifted someone over, which I'm sure wouldn't happen. You'd have like zookeepers and things like that watching constantly. Also, I decided to go for a little bit of a different roof design. It's kind of invisible from the outside, but when you're inside and looking up, it's like quite cool. So you would have seen me putting that in at the start of the speed build, and now I'm just going in with some accents and kind of covering up the bits that don't really make sense. I do pop on some railings onto the ramp there and also onto the stairs. I haven't done much with regards to gardening and so on, which you will see in the real-time part when I see you at the end, simply because I haven't been very well. However, I am back on board now, so I'm going to jump in and do some things off camera for next episode. If you have any requests for a dinosaur to go into this park, please do drop it down in the comments. I would really appreciate it. Also, if you are watching my content and you're not subscribed, please feel free to hit that subscribe button or the like button. It really does help the YouTube algorithm get my videos out to more people on YouTube, which is obviously my ultimate goal. I really want to get my content out so that people can enjoy it. Thank you so much to everyone who is watching at the moment. Really appreciate you all, and I will see you in the real time part. everyone, welcome back from the speed build, and here we are in the real-time part. I'm just over here near the entrance. We're going to head down to the Daeodon habitat. We're just going to walk on past the Ankylosaurus habitat, and I'll kind of point out some things that I'm going to fix up. So over here you can see, or over here, beg your pardon, you can see this is very bare. I can't decide, and I'm interested in your input actually from you guys, whether I should put in like a habitat here, like kind of by the side of the path. So rather than there being a viewing building for this particular dinosaur as such, it could just be like a pathway habitat, I suppose. So, you know, you're kind of coming along here, and then a few areas here are a viewing area into a habitat, perhaps just here. I've also just popped these couple of trees here just so it throws a bit of a shade over the Daeodon viewing area, just makes it look a bit more interesting. So we'll head on down. We've got some seating on the outside, and then I've just popped in a whole bunch of bamboo, just like I did next to the Gallimimus habitat. So it goes all the way down, and it's kind of on this sort of substrate, so it's sort of implied that this is well watered and well looked after. Let's just head straight in here. So we're going to go up the ramp, and here is the viewing area for the Daeodon. So you can look in, look down. Over here is their shelter area, and then they have the rest of this area to roam about in. They also might splash through the water down here, and then you would also be able to see them super up close as well. This building is about 3 or 4 meters tall, so much too tall for the Daeodon to actually get there. Well, when I say 3 or 4 meters tall, this part here is 3 or 4 meters tall from like at the bottom of the habitat to here, so they kind of wouldn't be able to get up to this viewing area. And this bit here is taller than the person or the people that are in the game, so you kind of would have to pick someone up and throw them over through this little gap, which, I mean, I'd be surprised if people want to do. I'm quite happy with the roof design in this building. I mean, I think I'll do something similar, and I will not put a roof on it. It will kind of just be a shade structure, because I kind of liked the way it turned out, but it really is hidden away unless you kind of look at it from this aspect. So I guess the Daeodon themselves get a decent view of the roof. And then let's just zoom out, and I will zoom around here. I put on a couple of accents onto the entranceway here just to make it look a little bit more realistic. And that's the Daeodon habitat. I've just really copied that building for the staff around and around the park, to be honest. Oh, I forgot to put a door on there. We'll need to do that. But I did listen to one of my subscribers who said, you know, it would be a good idea to have some holding areas for some of the animals. So I've put this electric fence holding area in here, and this is kind of where they would bring them through this little gate here, and they could kind of hold them in there if they needed to, or I guess if an animal was sick or whatever, they could keep them in this area. And it's all concrete, so easily cleaned and so on. Let's have a quick look at the Gallimimus habitat. So it did originally end right here. So it kind of was cut off there, and then none of this part down this end existed. And a lot of people were telling me that the Gallimimus would like to run, and you'd like to see some more open areas for them to do that. So I have put this in. I know that these habitats don't look that big, but they are actually huge. Like in the game, they're actually really big. So I think this is probably big enough now, and they do have, if they wanted to gallop, I mean, I guess they could gallop from here all the way down, or run and all the way back up. So they've got plenty of room now, in my opinion, but I mean, it is just my opinion. And there we go. So that's what I got done today, guys. Let me know what you think about this little space here. The next episode, I am looking at filling this habitat down this end here, and really looking forward to that particular dinosaur. It is a bit of a bigger ticket dinosaur. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys.